Welcome back to the channel. Today let's discuss shot shells, but not just any shot shells. Today's focus will be on buckshot rounds. For the most part, loading birdshot rounds is a simple operation if you own a loading press. Buckshot, on the other hand, is a bit more complicated, especially if you want to load long-range buckshot rounds for hunting or predator control. Very few ammo producers cater to this hunting niche, and honestly, most commercially available buckshot rounds fail miserably when used for this purpose. The problem stems from the fact that most commercial buckshot is loaded with the same type wads used for birdshot, which is fine if you want fast expanding patterns, but if you need a denser shot pattern at longer ranges, you're going to have to load them yourself. So okay, how do we go about doing that? I personally like starting out with new hulls. You can purchase these online with the primer already installed. Normally, shipping powders or primers requires you to pay an additional hazmat fee. The good news is, if the primers are already installed in the hull or casing, a hazmat fee isn't required. So there's a bit of savings right there. If you're going to load with a folded crimp, I recommend buying hulls that have already been skived, which means that they've had the case mouth factory thinned to allow for a nice tight folded crimp. I personally prefer to roll crimp and purchase unskived hulls. We'll discuss this choice a bit more in a few minutes, but notice the clear case on the left. You'll notice that the case mouth is a bit thicker than the skived case here on the right. By the way, trying to roll crimp shot cells that have been previously crimped doesn't work out very well. As a matter of fact, the word unsatisfactory kind of comes to mind. The choice of what wad to use is the primary key to getting denser long-range patterns. Like I mentioned earlier, typical brush popper type wads like these won't work very well. For example, on a recent coyote calling expedition, a buddy of mine took a shot at a trotting coyote at a distance of about 25 yards with a typical load of 12-gauge double-aught buck. Not a single pellet hit him. At about 50 yards out, and now in high gear, I dumped him cleanly with a payload of 20 caliber buckshot using one of my extended range loads. That said, to accomplish shots like that consistently, you're going to need wads like these that open slowly and produce denser shot patterns at extended ranges. These are the type of wads usually reserved for bismuth and other non-toxic payloads, but are easily adaptable for less expensive lead shot use. Recommended powder charges for this type of wad are downloadable online from several different sources, so finding a powder charge that utilizes your favorite shotgun powder won't be all that difficult. Like I mentioned earlier, unskived hulls seem to work out better for roll crimping. The thicker case mouth on these unskived hulls has less tendency to soften too quickly due to friction, and this allows for a more consistent crimp. Since we're starting out with new primed hulls, it's not necessary to even own a loading press. A small digital scale for weighing powder and shot charges, some overshot cards, and an electric drill equipped with a roll crimper is all that's really required. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and add our weighed powder charge, which is exactly what the reloading manual called for and the type of powder it called for, and we're going to add that to our casing. And now we can simply install our wad. Next, we'll weigh out our shot charge. By the way, when weighing out lead shot, I like to convert ounces to grains. For example, this load calls for 1¼ ounces of shot. That equates to 548 grains. Just keeps things simpler when using a digital scale. Perfect. Okay, now that we've added the powder charge, inserted the wad in the buckshot, it's time to place a shot card on top of the shot. You can choose a conventional cardboard type or one here made of clear plastic. Today I'll think I'm going to use the clear plastic disc and to make it easy to identify the shot charge at a later date. Once that's done, we'll be ready to crimp. And that's all there is to it. For the longest time I simply used a gloved hand to stabilize the hull while I spun the roll crimper down onto it. Since then I've discovered the hull vise, which I purchased this one from Ballistic Products, and it does a much better job stabilizing the hull while you're spinning it with the roll crimper. Now that we got the roll crimper in place, let's go ahead and add some power and go ahead and spin this thing closed. That's all there is to it. And now we have a very well done roll crimp. Okay. If you have access to a drill press, you can substitute that for the hand drill, and you'll definitely get some stellar roll crimp results. Now that we have a batch of these loaded up, what do you say we take them out to the range and test fire them?
Yeah.
Well, no surprises there. All of the rounds fired perfectly. As a matter of fact, all of the components you saw me use here today were purchased from Ballistic Products. I'll leave a link to their online store in the description box below. If you wind up deciding to go over to Ballistic Products to do a little shopping, I highly recommend their Buckshot loading manual. The manual is loaded with step-by-step how-tos and includes buckshot loading formulas for just about every brand of hull on the market. In my opinion, it's an excellent value for $15. Anyway, I hope you found this topic interesting. If so, let me know in the comments section below. Until next time, practice often, shoot straight, and stay the hell off my lawn.